story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to juvenile detail. For the past 2 weeks, there have been rumors of a teenage gang war taking place in your city. You don't know when it's going to start. You don't know where. Your job, stop it.
It was Tuesday, September the 8th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. We just transported a prisoner from the main jail, and it was 10:39 p.m. when we got to Georgia Street Juvenile. The interview room.
Sit down, Angelo.
Yeah.
What do they call you, Angie?
Yeah, Angie.
Why'd you tell the officers who arrested you that you were 18?
How'd they find out different?
All they had to do was check your record.
Well, it don't make any difference. Some of them say 16, some say 17. They're all different.
You're 17 now, aren't you?
Yeah, 17.
All right, you want to tell us about this burglary?
I told the other guys. Ain't that enough?
We want to hear it.
Well, figure if you tell it once, that's enough. They copped out. I told them all about it. Why don't you ask them?
All right, boy. Give us a story.
You got a match?
It'd be better if you don't smoke, don't you think?
Well, my folks don't care. They let me smoke.
The law doesn't until you're 18.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Angie. Tell us about it.
There's nothing to tell. Me and a couple other kids broke into a house. That's all there is to it. We just broke into the place.
What about the stuff you took?
I told the other two guys all about that.
The officers from burglary?
Yeah, they said it was from Central. I told them all about it, everything.
You show them where the plant was?
I told them I didn't go there, though. I just told them.
What'd you steal?
Huh?
The things you stole, name them for us.
Just different stuff. You know, like you find in a house, all kinds of stuff.
Was there an electric mixer?
Yeah, good one. You know, with orange juice attachment, good.
What else?
Electric razor, some silverware.
What kind of silverware?
You know, like you eat with.
Mm-hmm. Was there a silver tea service?
A what?
A tea service, you know what I mean?
If I knew, I wouldn't ask you.
Like a coffee pot with legs, a lot of scroll work on it, silver, you know.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh, was there one of those?
No.
How about a German Luger?
You mean a pistol?
That's right.
No, there wasn't one of them. Hey, you guys gonna let me out tonight?
No, you'll be held here.
Oh, I thought you was gonna let me go tonight. How about my folks? They know I'm here?
We haven't had a chance to notify them yet.
Where they live?
Down on Wall.
They have a phone?
Uh-uh. I thought you always told them when you picked up a kid.
You were booked as an adult.
Oh, yeah.
You fenced any of the stolen merchandise yet?
No, we just got it last night. We just broke into the house then. Haven't had a chance to fence it.
The other officers say they're going to pick it up?
Yeah.
You got a job?
What?
I said, are you working?
I told you I did.
Where?
Place down on East Fifth.
What do you do?
I'm a messenger. Ride a bike, delivery thing.
You working there now?
I'm here now.
You know what I mean.
No.
You're not working then?
The boss and me had a beef. He's a moody one, too. Real moody.
Your parole officer know you lost the job?
I never told him.
Well, maybe he found out. Maybe that's why he was sore at you.
Yeah.
You been reporting regular?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's that mean?
Once in a while, a couple of times I missed. Just a couple. Don't have to make a federal case out of it. My parole officer know about this arrest?
I think he's been notified. How many times have you been arrested?
I don't know, maybe 6, 7.
You ever been to camp?
Yeah, I was there.
What for?
Truancy.
How long were you there?
A couple of weeks. And I broke out, and they sent me to Preston. I'm on parole now. You can't let me out tonight, huh?
We'll book you and notify your officer. What's his name?
Lockridge. The moody old guy. Hope he ain't in the mood when he sees me. Rough if he's in the mood.
Is that right?
Yeah. Like he came down to see me one day and asked me how I was doing. I told him fine. I had a job. I was doing fine. He says, that's good, Angie, like that. That's good. Tells me how fine I'm doing.
Yeah.
Next day he comes to my house and reads me off. Says I'm a bum. I'm no good. All like that. Moody.
Why'd he read you off?
I don't know.
Didn't he tell you?
No, he just came in and yelled at me. I wasn't doing anything. He's moody.
You belong to a gang, Angie?
Huh?
I said, do you belong to a gang?
Yeah, we got a club. I belong to that.
What's the name of the club?
A little Wall Street gang. You heard of it?
No.
A good club. You sure you ain't heard of us?
No.
How about you?
No. Your gang fight much?
What do you mean, fight?
Well, you ever get mixed up in gang wars, anything like that?
No, not us. We've been in a couple of street fights, maybe. You know, some kids come over to where we are and start trouble, but we never been in no gang wars. We got a good gang.
You know anybody that belongs to Pink Rats?
A couple of guys. I don't know them real well.
Who are they?
I told you, I don't know them real well. Just to know them when I see them, you know, like that.
You don't know any of the names, huh?
I think one of them's called Pinky. That's all I know. Look, why are you asking me about them?
Well, we got a rumble out there cooking up a gang war. Wondered if you knew anything about it.
Where'd you hear it?
We did. You know anything on it?
No.
You sure?
I told you. I wouldn't tell you if it wasn't right.
Now, look, Angie, if this thing breaks loose, there's going to be a lot of kids hurt. If you got no part in it, why don't you give us the story?
I'm giving it to you. Ain't nothing more I can tell you. Didn't hear nothing about no war. I told you I belong to the little Wall Street gang. We don't get mixed up in no wars. A couple of street fights, maybe, but no wars.
You gonna stand on that?
I haven't got any other way. What did you hear?
What?
What did you hear about the rats? About the war, I mean. Who are they going to fight?
Well, the way it comes to us, they're going to cut into the Orchids.
You mean from the south side?
Yeah,
They're rough guys.
that's what we hear.
How did it start?
What do you mean?
What's the beef? The Orchids won't go that far away from home to stage something. Got to be a reason. You guys know what it is?
Well, the way we got it, a girlfriend of one of the Orchid gang moved over into the Pink Rat territory. She started to go with one of the rats. The Orchids didn't like it, so they drove over one night and beat up on one of the rats.
The next night, the rats went over to the south side and kicked around one of the Orchids. That's the way it started. A couple of nights ago, one of the rat kids was riding down the street on a motorbike. A car full of Orchids came up alongside the boy, and before he could do anything about it, they wrapped a piece of bicycle chain around his head.
Kill him?
No, he's still in the county hospital. He's not doing too well.
We got word there's going to be a party this Saturday night at one of the rats' house. They figure maybe that's where the trouble's going to be.
You're not throwing any coconuts at me.
What?
This is for real?
It's the way we get it. Those kids get started, and somebody's going to get hurt real bad.
Maybe a lot worse than you got it figured.
What do you mean?
I heard about the job the Orchids did last week.
Yeah?
They broke into a place and cleaned it out. It must have been for Saturday night.
How do you mean?
They stole a couple of rifles. Something worse.
Yeah?
12-gauge shotgun.
10:45 p.m. Angelo Marcal was rebooked at Georgia Street Juvenile on a charge of burglary. His shoes and his belt were taken from him, and he was held in detention. We put in a call to his parole officer and told him what had happened. After that, we drove by Marcal's home to inform his parents of the arrest, but we found nobody there. We left our card with a notation asking them to call us when they returned. Before the Marcal boy had been placed in the cell, we'd gotten a description of the boy he knew as Pinky. After trying to contact Marcal's parents, we went up to the second floor of the juvenile division and had the record bureau check the nickname and description. We came up with 3 possibles. We pulled the mug shots of the boys and showed them to Angelo Marcal, but he was unable to give us an identification. It was difficult to tell if the boy was lying or telling us the truth to try to cover up for the members of the Pink Rat gang. The following afternoon, Wednesday, September 9th, Frank and I checked into the office, and then we drove out to see the parents of the Marcal boy. They still hadn't returned, and the neighbors told us that they had seen the couple drive away early Monday morning without giving any indication as to when they might return. We asked the woman who lived next door to call us when they did come back. 4:40 p.m., we drove over to the east side of town to check on the 3 possibles named Pinky that we'd turned up the previous night. All of the boys were able to prove to our satisfaction that they were not the Pinky we were after. We talked to the youngsters in the neighborhood, asking them if they knew anything about an expected gang war. Either they didn't know anything about it or they wouldn't tell us. 6:15 p.m., we went back to the office and put in a call to Central Burglary.
Yeah. We haven't got the exact date. The way we got it, there are a couple of rifles taken and a 12-gauge shotgun. No, and a 12-gauge shotgun. Yeah. Sure, I'll wait. They're checking the reports now.
This is one tip I'd like to have turned bad, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, Rex. Mm-hmm. That'd be the 30, huh? Yeah. What's that? Yeah, I guess it might be. Won't help if it is. Right. Let us know, huh? Right. They got the reports. Guns were stolen on Tuesday, August 30th. They still haven't been able to get anything on it. Rifles were 30-06s.
Deer rifles, huh?
Yeah. Olson says they got another report last night. Might mean something.
Yeah.
Hardware store broken into.
What'd they take?
4 boxes of 30-06 ammo, 3 boxes of 12-gauge cartridges.
It might have been a coincidence, but if it wasn't, the Orchid gang was armed with 3 guns and 225 rounds of ammunition, enough to start and sustain a small war. 6:35 p.m., we contacted Lieutenant Hartgrove, the night watch commander, and he assigned 2 other teams of officers to work with us. In addition to the juvenile officers, radio units out of Metro Division, reserves, joined us in the search for members of the Orchid gang. The streets in the area were combed. Citizens in the area were questioned, but they failed to supply any information on the boys who belonged to the gang. The satin-embroidered jackets the members of the Orchid gang wore had disappeared from the streets. At 12:01 a.m., the search was called off, and a broadcast was put out to the regular units in the area to be on the watch for any gang activities. 12:47 a.m., we got in touch with Rex Olson in Central Burglary. He told us that the crime lab had failed to come up with any physical evidence on the theft of ammunition from the hardware store. 1:20 a.m., Frank and I checked out of the office and we went home. The following morning at 8:30 a.m., we got in touch with the juvenile informant, and he was able to give us more information on the expected gang war. He told us that the fight was set for Saturday night. He was unable to give us the exact address of the party that was to be crashed, but he did give us a general idea of the location. He was also able to give us the name Pinky Eggers and his address. He told us that the Eggers boy was the leader of the Pink Rats and might be able to give us information on the membership of the Orchid gang. 12:40 p.m., Frank and I drove out to talk to the Eggers boy. We checked his school, but he wasn't there. We went to his home. It was a small one-story frame building with a weathered picket fence surrounding it. A 1947 hopped-up Ford was in the driveway. Frank and I went up on the porch and rang the bell.
Yard could sure stand a cleaning up.
Yeah. Wonder who the car belongs to.
I don't know. Sure looks fast.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Like to see Pinky Eggers,
Who are you?
police officers.
Well, can't you lay off the kid? Why don't you quit rousting him?
Is he here?
No, he ain't here, and if he was, I don't think I'd let you see him.
That his car?
Yeah, it's his.
Registered in his name?
No, in mine. Now, what are you after the kid for?
I want to talk to him.
Well, talk to me. I'm his father. Anything you got to say to him, you can tell me.
Your boy belonged to a club called the Pink Rat Gang?
Why?
Does he?
I answer no questions till you tell me why you're asking.
Now, look, mister, we're not out here to pass the time of day. Your boy's mixed up in something that can turn out to be pretty serious.
That right.
That's the way it is.
Who says it's serious, and what are you talking about?
We got word that your boy's mixed up in a gang war that's going to break out this weekend.
And you two big cops are out here leaning on a kid because he's mixed up in a beef. Listen, there's a 5-year-old kid down the street skating on the sidewalk. Why don't you go put the arm on her?
If this war breaks out and somebody's going to get hurt, maybe your boy. We're trying to stop it.
Oh, don't bother. Pinky can take care of himself. Any of the gangs cause trouble, the rats can swing their end. You want to stop the beef, go talk to the other kids. Tell them to lay off. My boy's gang is now looking for trouble. Any fighting going on, you can talk to the other kids. You check them. Leave my boy
We
alone.
want to talk to him, Mr. Eggers.
You going to make a pinch?
No, we just want to talk to him.
Should have known you were going to take him today. Only 2 of you. Well, I'm telling you, you ain't laying a hand on Pink. You try it, and I'll haul you in every court in the country. Now get out of here.
Where's your boy now?
That's none of your business. I told you to get out.
Maybe you don't understand, Eggers. This is a gang war. Your boy's helping to build it.
Now you get off my property and don't come back. You hear me? Anything happens, Pinky can take care of himself. He'll be okay. Now you guys leave him alone.
I hope he's right. 3:15 p.m. Frank and I drove over to Pinky Eggers' school again. We spent the next 2 hours talking to the youngsters in the neighborhood. Those that would cooperate with us didn't have the information that we needed. The others refused to tell us anything. In the meantime, officers from 77th Street Division were checking on the activities of the Orchid Gang. They ran into the same evasive answers that we had. If the information we'd gotten was true, we had a little more than 48 hours to find the principals in the war before the shooting could start. Thursday night, 8:40 p.m., Frank and I met with Captain John Powers, Lieutenant Hartgrove, and the heads of the juvenile details throughout the city. From them, we learned that word of the impending war had spread through the gangs in the separate districts, and that the other gangs were taking sides in the argument and were ready to start their own battles with factions who opposed them. Captain Powers, along with the heads of the divisions, mapped the plan of action to be put into effect at the first sign of an outbreak. Additional cars from Metropolitan Division reserves were to be ready if they were needed. Days off for all juvenile officers were canceled. A 3-way radio contact would be kept open between all divisions on Saturday night. The area where the main activity was expected would be heavily patrolled, both by beat men and by radio car officers. Once the operating plan was set up, there was little to do but wait. In the meantime, the search went on for members of the Orchid Gang and for Pinky Eggers, the leader of the Pink Rats. A watch had been placed on his home, but he'd failed to return. Friday, September 6th, 9:42 p.m., Frank and I checked with the burglary division on the stolen guns. Then we went over to the New Yorker restaurant to get something to eat. Hi, Sal.
Hey, Joe, call your office. I just called you.
Yeah, thanks. Order him the fish and chips, will you, Frank?
Sure.
How's it going, Sal?
Not bad. Would you?
Kind of rough. Where's Rosie?
Her and the kids went to movies.
$2568, please. Yeah, George Juvenile. Right. Lieutenant, this Friday. Well, when did it happen? Well, wait till I get a pencil. Saul, hand me that menu, will you?
Yeah. Here you are.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Well, what do you want us to do? Yeah. They know yet? Yeah, all right. No, we'll get right over there. Bye. Never mind the food, Sal.
What's the matter?
Kids didn't wait until Saturday. They just shot up Highland Park.
What's the score?
Still coming in. A good start.
Yeah.
11-year-old boy killed. The first victim of the juvenile gang war was 11-year-old Tony Herman. The teenagers next door to the Herman house were having a party. At 9:36 p.m. Friday night, a group of youngsters had arrived at the house and tried to crash the party. A fist fight had ensued, and Tony, who was doing his homework next door, had gone out to see what was causing the disturbance. As he stood on the porch watching the fighting, a 12-gauge shotgun had been fired. The pellets from the cartridge had caught the youngster in the stomach and the abdomen, and he'd gone down. At the sound of the shot, the fighting had stopped, and the party crashers had left the scene. The police had been called, and Tony was removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. He was dead on arrival. From the neighbors, descriptions of the party crashers had been obtained. All of the boys wore satin jackets with a large white orchid embroidered on the back. One of the people who saw the shooting said that the boy who'd fired the gun wore a jacket with the name Gene under the orchid design. A broadcast was gotten out immediately, along with a description of the car that the juveniles had used to escape. The parents of the Herman boy were not at home when the shooting occurred. From the neighbors, we found that they usually went to a movie on Friday night, and they didn't return until after midnight. An officer was stationed at the house to bring them to the hospital when they returned. At 1:34 a.m., Mrs. Herman arrived at the hospital. She was a small, dark woman with graying hair. She didn't know what had happened. Frank and I met her in the hall.
I want to see Sergeant Friday. Is he here?
I'm Sergeant Friday, ma'am.
Well, I'm Mrs. Herman. They say something's happened to Tony.
Yes, ma'am. You want to step in here? Might be a little better to talk.
All right. Can I see him? He isn't hurt bad, is he? It's that bicycle. I told his father I knew it was too soon for it. He's so little, and to buy him a big bike like that, well, he couldn't hardly reach the pedals. Well, that's it, isn't it? He fell off the bicycle.
No, ma'am.
What is it, then? What is it? Something more? He's hurt. I want to see him.
Just a minute, Miss Herman.
Why won't you tell me what happened to him? My husband will be here in a few minutes, and he's going to want to know. Why won't you tell me? How bad's he hurt?
Pretty bad, ma'am.
That's not an answer. How bad's he hurt?
He's dead.
Dead?
Can we get you anything?
My boy's dead? Tony? What? But he'd fallen off the bicycle. He got it for his birthday, a new bicycle, 28-inch wheels. I thought he'd fallen. I didn't know it was like this. Can I see him? My boy, can I?
Yes, ma'am.
How'd it happen? How?
We're sorry about it, Miss Herman.
My Tony had an accident, and he's dead. He went to a movie, and he come home to find our son's dead.
Better get the doctor, Frank.
Right.
Doctor will be here in a minute, Miss Herman.
Just a movie. He's doing his homework. Now he's dead. How did it happen, Mr. Friday?
The gun went off. He was standing on the porch. He was hit.
But who was shooting? Who shot my boy? Who killed him?
We don't know, Miss Herman.
I want to know who it was who killed him. I want to know. His father's going to want to know. My boy's dead. My boy, my son.
You want to handle this, Doc? We'll wait outside.
Surely.
Kind of hard to do.
You're going to make up for it.
Huh?
The kid that fired the gun?
Yeah.
They got him downstairs.
A few minutes after the broadcast had gone out on the boy wearing the jacket with the name Gene on it, two officers on York Boulevard had picked up the speeding car. In shaking down the occupants and the car itself, they'd found the jacket hidden under the rear seat. In the trunk of the automobile, they'd found the stolen rifles and the shotgun with one discharged cartridge in it. The three boys in the car had been taken into custody and brought immediately to Georgia Street. Two of the youngsters had been taken to the detention cells, and the third, who identified himself as Gene Graff, was brought to the office of the night watch commander. From the identification found in his pockets, we learned his name, address, and his age, 16 years old. His parents were notified that he was being held, and they were asked to come to the office immediately. All the time the boy had been in the room, and the calls had been made, he refused to say anything. When Frank hung up the phone after calling his parents, he made the first statement.
What's that going to prove?
What's that?
Having them come down here. What are you going to prove with that?
You want to tell us about it?
How's the kid? You going to be all right?
No, he's not.
How bad's he hurt?
He's dead.
Rough.
That's all you got to say?
What do you want me to say?
You gunned down an 11-year-old boy, and that's all you got to say about it?
Look, cop, I know the routine. You read me off, make a big speech, and I'm supposed to feel real bad. Well, I'd like to go along with you, but it won't work. Look, save the effort. Use the words in somebody else. Do what you're going to do, and let's get it over with.
How old are you?
You already saw it.
How old?
16.
Pretty heavy, aren't you?
I've been around, yeah.
Don't get smart, kid.
Not my fault. I was born that way.
How many times you been arrested?
Couple.
How many times?
4.
For what?
Suspicion 211, suspicion 245.
You're 16. You've been picked up for robbery and assault.
I didn't stand any of them.
You ever been in camp?
No.
You ever served any time?
Look, the taxpayers pay you a lot of money to keep records. Why don't you look all this up? It's there.
Where'd you get the shotgun you used tonight?
I won it in a raffle. I got a lot of luck.
Yeah, well, it just ran out, kid. Now, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. If you're as smart as I think you are, you're going to take it. You start answering these questions, you start answering them right. You bought yourself a pile of trouble that you and that smart mouth of yours aren't going to talk your way out of. You killed somebody, an 11-year-old boy. You walked up that house with a gun you were ready to use. And you just answer the questions and never mind the sarcasm.
Put the muscle away. You lean on me and I'll have every sister in this state on your neck. I'm a juvenile. Don't you forget it.
You just got out of that league.
That's the way you see it.
That's the way it is.
from where you sit. But I'm telling you, you give me any muscle and I'll scream my head off to every sob sister club in the country.
I'm going to ask you once more, young fella. Where'd you get that gun?
I bought a lucky ticket.
Stick with it, kid. We're checking the numbers now. Those guns were taken in the burglary last week. You're dead on it. We got you going in.
You try to make it stick.
Don't worry, we will.
Use narcotics?
Do I look like a hype?
I asked you a question.
And I gave you an answer.
Did you drink?
Sure, I'm a real lush.
I'm going to tell you something. We're running out of patience with you.
Well, then you better go get pumped up. You're going to need a lot more.
What were you doing out there tonight?
Where?
Come off it. You know what I mean.
Gently, gently.
What were you doing at that party?
What do you usually do at a party? I was having a good time.
Why'd you take that gun with you?
I was in the car. I didn't take it. I went along for the ride.
Well, who put it there?
I don't know.
Other boys say it was yours.
That's a lie.
Prove it.
I don't have to. You got to prove I did know about it.
We don't have to prove a thing. There are a couple of people who saw you shoot the kid. Guys you were with it copped out. You're nailed and you know it.
We'll see what the judge has to say about it. I've gotten off before. I'll swing it this time. I'm a juvenile. I'm not responsible for what I do.
You really believe that, don't you?
I said it.
You know, I got 2 kids.
What do you want, a medal?
I got 2 kids. They're pretty good youngsters, too. They go to school, they study hard, and they're trying hard to grow up to be decent human beings. They'll get married and raise ordinary families. They'll never do much of anything special to get their names in the papers. Nobody's going to give them much notice, and maybe that's the way they want it. But all of a sudden, somebody like you comes along, mean and rotten, and people hear about you. They figure all the kids sat down and wrote your name on a ballot, and now you represent all of them. That you're the shining example of American youth. They sit there and shake their heads and talk about what's happening to the younger generation. They got the wrong picture. It isn't true, none of it. You framed it. You act like a big man, and every decent, honest kid comes on looking like a bum. You sit there and blow off about being a juvenile. You like it because you think it'll buy you special privileges. Well, you're wrong, fella, not in my book. As far as I'm concerned, you're a rotten little killer, and you're going to be treated like one.
Now you bring out the rubber hose?
All right, come on, let's go.
Take your coat, boy. You're not coming back this way.
Yeah.
Come in.
Mr. Friday,
Yes, Miss Herman.
you told me I'd find you here. Is this the boy who did it?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your name?
Answer.
Gene Graff.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you kill my boy? Did he do something to you? Is that it? Did Tony do something to you? Answer me. Say something. Just tell me one thing. What right do you have? What right does a young hoodlum like you have to stand there alive and breathing and my boy dead? What right? Do you hear me? What right?
Miss Herman.
Make him tell me what right. What right? What right does he have to do a horrible thing like this? What right?
I don't know, but we're going to take it away from him.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 4th, a petition was filed in juvenile court, and the subject was declared unfit to be tried as a juvenile. He was ordered to be tried in superior court under the general law. Gene Norton Graff was tried and convicted of murder in the second degree. He was referred to the Youth Authority for punishment. Murder in the second degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 5 years to life.
Dragnet. The story of your police force in action is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. 3 hold-up men have robbed and beaten 2 supermarket operators in your city. You've got a good description of the thieves. Your job, get them.
It was Tuesday, November 3rd. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We'd gotten a hotshot call about a robbery, and it was 9:46 a.m. when we got to the corner of Lockwood and Barton Avenues. The Lockton Market.
Officer back there.
Yeah. Friday and Smith, Central Robbery.
Oh, yeah, I'm Jackson, Unit 387.
You answered the call?
Yeah, we got here a couple of minutes ago.
Where's the victim?
Back room there. He's pretty bad off. Ambulance attendant's with him now.
Mm-hmm.
My partner's checking the neighborhood. If there's nothing you need me for, I'll give him a hand.
Yeah, make a 211 report for you, Lee, will you?
Right.
Thank you.
Looks like there was quite a fight.
Yeah, stuff all over the place. Come on.
What do you got in that bottle? It sure stinks.
Yeah, you got to clean up these cuts. So try to hold still.
Ow! Hey, take it easy, huh?
Yeah, something you want?
We're out of Central Robbery. Is this the victim?
Yeah, a couple of cuts, nothing serious.
Tell him about Andy. He's the one who really got it.
Who's Andy?
The other clerk. Pretty rough. Looks like it might be a fractured jaw. He's on the truck now. Now, let me get this tape on you now, huh?
Ow!
That should do it. Might be a good idea if you saw your doctor.
Yeah, what about Andy?
We're going to take him down to Georgia Street Receiving.
You going to call me and let me know about it?
It might be better if you called them.
Yeah, okay.
I'll see you guys, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Boy, that one guy really clouded me. Hurt.
Mm-hmm. Wonder if you feel up to telling us what happened here.
3 of them. 3. Came in and held up the place. Clouded me and Andy. Sure hope he's going to be all right.
What's your name, sir?
Cliff Hall.
You own the store, do you?
No, me and Andy run it, though. We'd like to buy it.
What time did these men come in?
Must have been around 9:30, around there.
Did you give the officers who answered the call a description of the men?
Yeah, that was the first thing they asked me.
Go ahead, please.
I was getting the money ready for the bank deposit. Andy was back here stacking bottle cases. These 3 guys came in. First off, I thought they were customers.
Yeah.
A couple of them walked to the back of the place. I thought they were picking out stuff. The other one kind of stood around by the cash register where I was.
Go ahead.
Well, after he was there for a minute and I see the other 2 aren't picking up nothing, I asked him if there was something I could get for him. That's when he pulled out a gun.
What about the other 2?
All worked like they had some kind of signal. As soon as the one in front pulled his gun, the other 2 did too. The fellow asked me to put all the money in a paper bag. Got the bag from up in front there. Took it right out of the stack and handed it to me. Said for me to put the dough in it.
You recall his exact words?
What?
The way he said it, the words he used. You recall them?
Well, let me see. I think it was, put all the dough in this bag. Don't say anything. Just do as I say. That was the way he said it.
What'd you do then?
Like he said. He had that gun pointed right at me. I could see the other 2 guys. I wasn't going to do anything but what he told me. I put the money in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they'd leave the place, but that's when Andy came out. I guess he wondered what the other 2 were after. You see, from where he was, he couldn't see the guns.
Well.
He walked out to him, asked if there was anything special they were looking for.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, then he saw what was happening. He saw the guns, and he tried to throw the guys out. I don't know why he did it. Andy's like that. He gets an idea in his head, and there isn't anything that'll shake it loose. He tied into those 2 guys, almost had them whipped, too, even with the guns. The guy that was with me saw what was going on and yelled back at him, told him not to shoot. He ran back and laid his gun alongside Andy's head. Oh, clouded him right along in here.
Mm-hmm.
Andy dropped like a sack of potatoes, and the 3 guys ran out of the store.
How much money did they get, you know?
I hadn't finished up with the bank statement yet. I'd just be guessing, but I'd say about $8,000. Might run to 8.5, but that's about it.
I see. Now, if you could just give us a description of the men.
All 3 of them?
If you could, yeah.
The one who was with me must have been about 5'11", kind of dark complected, had straight black hair.
What color were his eyes?
Brown.
You have any marks or scars you could see?
No.
Clean shaven?
Yeah, I had a real dark beard. Looked kind of like he had some kind of talcum powder on.
Do you remember how he was dressed?
Let's see. A dark blue suit, gray top coat, gray hat.
Was he wearing a tie, do you know?
Yeah, a gray tie with maroon stripes. You know, kind of diagonal, a thin tie.
Anything unusual about him? Make it easier for us to identify him?
No, I don't think so.
How about the gun he was carrying? What kind was it?
Well, I couldn't see the name.
No, sir. I mean, was it an automatic or revolver?
Oh, an automatic. Looked like a big caliber, I'd say 45. One of the other fellows had a revolver, but the guy with me and the small one had automatics.
You know if they drove a car?
Well, if they did, I didn't see it. Might have had it parked right out in front for all I know. I told you I was busy when they came in. When they left, I was too worried about Andy to pay any attention to him. The way they hit him, a terrible thing, right along here. Oh, excuse me a minute. I got some aspirin here in the drawer.
Yes, sir.
Sure hope Andy's going to be all right. We've been together a long time. Can't get over that little guy, the one who hit me. I should have taken him. But the big one, he's a tough-looking, a real fighter.
Well, this isn't going to help much.
Huh?
He's going to lose this one. We got the descriptions of the other two men, and a supplementary local broadcast was gotten out. The two officers who'd answered the call found a woman in the neighborhood who'd seen 3 men leave the vicinity immediately after the robbery. She said that she was parked in a car half a block from the store on the same side of the street. She explained that about 9:20 a.m., a car had pulled into a parking place in front of her. She'd seen 3 men leave the car and walk down the sidewalk in the direction of the Lockton Market. About 10 minutes later, the men came back to the car. They appeared to be in a hurry. One of the men was upset and arguing with the other 2. She told the officers that they'd gotten into the car and driven off toward Hollywood Boulevard. We asked her to describe the 3 men. The description she gave us matched the one we'd gotten of the thieves. She gave us a description of the car, and another supplementary broadcast was put out. We asked her to come down to City Hall to go through the mug books to see if she could give us a positive identification. The report from Georgia Street Receiving Hospital indicated that the victim of the slugging, Andrew Rich, was suffering from a fractured jaw and a concussion. He was given emergency treatment and removed to the county hospital. The crime lab crew came out and they went over the store for physical evidence. They were able to lift 3 partial fingerprints from the counter next to the cash register. Dean Bergman and Leighton Prince explained that the partials were not enough for identification, but that if we apprehended the holdup men, he'd be able to tell us if they'd left the impressions. 10:27 a.m. We took the victim, Clifford Hall, and the woman who'd seen the car to the mug room. They went through the mug books, but they were unable to come up with an identification. We had the stats office make a run on the M.O. They came back with a list of 17 names of men who at one time or another had used the same method of operation. The list was split, and Sergeants Meade and Leitner worked with us in checking the names out. Thursday, 3:48 p.m. Frank and I got to the 6th name on our list.
Jerry Evanston, that right?
Yeah.
Sure dark in this hall. He ought to wash the windows, let some light in.
Yeah, here we are.
Might not be in.
Yeah, we'll try it again. Now let's talk to the manager.
Yeah.
Yeah? Who is it?
Manager, we want to see you a minute.
Just a minute. What do you want? I was asleep.
Come on, Evanston, open up.
Yeah, we can get out of here.
Police officer. Come on. Watch it, Joe.
All right, come on, Evanston, get up.
What are you doing? I'm clean. Look, you got no right to come busting in here like this.
Yeah, you're so clean. What are you putting out trouble for?
I got scared, that's all. I just got scared. Well, how'd you feel if somebody woke you up and then shoves their way into your room? You ain't going to stand around and just let them do it.
He's clean, Joe.
I told you that. Look, I got no trouble. I don't want none. You check with Galloway. He'll tell you. I'm home every night at 9 o'clock, every night.
Where were you this morning?
Huh?
This morning, where were you?
What time?
You just tell us what you did, starting when you got up.
I was up all night. I got a virus or something. I couldn't sleep. Take a look there in the dresser. You can see the stuff I've been taking. I haven't been out of this room, not for a couple of days.
Can you prove that?
Why?
Can you?
No, there wasn't anybody here.
You get any phone calls?
No. I don't know what this is all about, but you guys are leaning on me for nothing. Now, you talk to Galloway. He'll tell you I've been working. Well, look here. I'll show
Where
you.
you going?
I just want to show you something I got in the drawer.
Well, you stay right there. I'll get it for you.
Okay, I got nothing to hide. Take a look in the top drawer there, left-hand side.
Yeah. These what you mean?
Yeah, that's it. Now, take the rubber band off and look. You'll see I'm telling you the truth. There, you see? It's all the check receipts I've gotten from where I work. You look at them. I'm working every day, and I'm home at night, 9 o'clock every night.
How about it, Joe?
Yeah.
There, you see?
You haven't been out of this room all day, huh?
Not a minute. Now, come on, what's all this about anyway? What are you guys after?
We figured maybe you could tell us.
Yeah? Oh, I'm sorry. Without you telling me what you want, there's nothing I can give you.
You see any of the boys anymore?
You mean the fellas I knew before I fell?
That's right.
Not if I can help it. I'm trying to stay away from them.
See any of them lately?
Yeah. Saw Alex a couple days ago.
Alex?
Yeah. Alex Finley. I knew him when I was up in Q. He came in where I was working.
Did you talk to him at all?
I just said hello. Passed a couple of minutes talking about some of the guys we knew.
Seeing the rackets now?
I don't know.
Is he on parole?
Yeah, I think so.
Did he give you anything?
Oh, a couple of rumbles, but if I turn them over to you, I don't want a credit for them. You don't know where you got them.
All right.
Alex tells me there's a gang that's going to start working here in town, market jobs.
How many men?
Well, from what Alex says, there's 4, all heavy guys.
Finley with him?
No, I don't think so. He told it to me that he just heard it.
Did he say anything about who the 4 men are?
No, I don't think he knew. He just said they were heavy and they were starting to work.
You know where we can get in touch with Alex?
No. Well, you might check with Galloway at the parole office. He might have it.
Yeah, we will.
I'll probably see him again. I'll try to get the information if I can. Well, what is it? What does you want to know? Who the guys are?
That's right.
Okay. Now, like I told you, though, I don't want any credit for it. I'm in real trouble if it gets around that I'm playing footsie with you.
Yeah, sure.
I'll try to find out when they're going to start working, too.
Well, don't you worry about that.
Huh?
We already know that. 4:10 p.m. We got in touch with Fred Galloway at the state adult parole offices, and we checked on Jerry Evanston. From what the record showed, the story Evanston had told us was true. His parole officer had reported him working and apparently living up to the conditions of his release. We left him one of our cards and asked him to call us in the event he heard from Alex Finley. 4:21 p.m. We checked back into the office, and we met with Sergeants Meade and Leitner. They told us that they'd checked out the names on their half of the list without result. We sent a teletype up to George Brereton, CII, Sacramento, giving him the description of the holdup men and listing the M.O. that they'd used. We asked him to run the information through their files and forward any information they came up with. 5:19 p.m. We went out to get something to eat, and then we checked back into the office.
Good dinner, huh, Joe?
Yeah, I never saw a guy could eat so many enchiladas as you.
Yeah, I can't help it. Get started on them. Can't seem to stop.
Yeah.
You got any soda in your locker?
No, you got trouble again?
You know I always do when we have enchiladas.
You ought to remember that when you order a half a dozen.
I suppose so.
Yeah, I get it. Robbery Friday, yeah. When was that? They're pretty sure, are they? Has the lab been called yet? Yep. Okay. Right, thanks. Oh, that's a break.
Yeah?
They just found the getaway car. 6:47 p.m. We left the office and drove out to where the car had been found. It was parked on Lockwood Avenue, 5 blocks from the market that had been robbed. The radio car officers who'd spotted it had called the office immediately when they saw a brown paper bag in the back seat bearing the printed name Lockton Market. A crew from Leighton Prince came out and went over the car. They were able to come up with a single print from a man's index finger. Bergman compared it with the partials found at the market. They matched. We checked the white slip in the car and found that the vehicle was stolen. The report on it had been filed at 10:37 a.m. that morning. We talked with the people in the immediate vicinity, but none of them were able to tell us anything about the people who'd parked the car. However, we did come up with an elderly man who told us that he'd seen 3 men get into another car at about 9:45 that morning. He said that he remembered it because the driver of the car had pulled into a parking space and stopped the motor. Another automobile had parked directly in front of the car, and the driver of the first machine had moved so that there was no one in front of him. The man went on to say that a few minutes after the driver pulled into the second parking place, 3 men had come around the corner, gotten into the car, and the 4 of them had driven off. The witness was unable to give us a description of the car other than to say that it was a late model Plymouth or Ford. The only description he could give us of the men was that one of them was large and was wearing a gray topcoat and a hat, and that one of them was small. 8:40 p.m. Frank and I went back to the office and checked out for the night. The following morning at 8:02 a.m., I checked back in for work.
Hi, Joe.
Morning. Kind of cold out.
Yeah.
You look happy this morning.
I didn't sleep a wink last night, Joe. Not a wink.
What's the matter?
Stomach. Next time I even think about eating enchiladas, stop me, will you, Joe?
Yeah, sure. Any mail come in?
I don't know. I just got in.
There's an ad here from that store over on West 6th. They're having their annual sale.
Yeah? I want to try to get over there. I'd like to get me a new suit for Christmas.
Yeah, there's a special delivery from Brereton.
Huh.
Probably those mugs we asked for. I'll see. Yeah, there's 6 of them. You want to get in touch with Cliff Hall? You can drive over and have him take a look at them.
Yeah. You got any other pictures?
Yeah, we can mix them up.
I'll call Hall.
Okay.
I sure hope we get an ident. We haven't got much to go on.
Well, there's got to be a break someplace. We got to find it.
From what Finley said about the gang starting up operation, doesn't sound like just one job.
No.
They start on a string, they can do a lot of damage.
Well, it doesn't give us much choice, does it?
No.
We got to get to them. 8:27 a.m. Frank and I left the office and drove over to talk to the victim, Cliff Hall. We showed him the mug shots George Brereton had sent us. He picked one out and said that he was positive that the man in the picture was the one who'd held him up. The name on the mug shot was Harold Bishop. According to the record Brereton had sent us, Bishop had been convicted twice on violation of 211 PC, armed robbery. 9:20 a.m. We drove over to the county hospital and showed the pictures to the other victim, Andrew Rich. He picked the mugshot of Bishop as the suspect who'd robbed and beaten him. The notation on Bishop's picture gave us the information that he was on parole at the time. We returned to the office and put in a call to Fred Galloway at the State Adult Parole Office. Yeah, Fred, this is Joe Friday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fine. We'd like some information on a Harold Bishop. San Francisco number 82609. 26, that's right. Male, white, Caucasian. We got a mug from Braden. No, he says he's on parole. Yeah, if you will. Thanks a lot. He's checking the master file now.
Meade and Leitner are standing by if we need him.
When we get this address, we're going to have to move fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fred. When was that? Well, how's his report there? I see. No, I don't know. Yeah, I suppose. Right, Fred. Thank you. Well, you can tell Meade and Leitner to relax. Bishop's got an out-of-state parole. He's living over in Phoenix.
Well, he still could be getting into California.
No, not likely.
Huh?
Fred checked with his parole officer.
Yeah.
He's got a job, and he's been reporting to his parole officer every month. We asked Fred Galloway at the state parole office to contact Bishop's parole officer in Phoenix and check him closely. The report came back that the suspect had a job with a small contractor and that he'd been working regularly. He'd also been giving monthly reports to his officer. We'd had a suspect identified by two of his victims, and yet if the information we'd gotten was correct, it would have been a physical impossibility for him to have committed the robbery. We got a copy of his jacket and looked over his past record. We found that Bishop had been arrested for armed robbery the first time 18 years previously. He'd been brought to trial and acquitted. The next arrest was 10 months after his trial. He'd been convicted and served 6 years at San Quentin. He'd been released, and within 6 months, Bishop had been picked up again. This time, he was sent to Folsom Penitentiary. While he was there, he appeared to be a model prisoner, and after serving 4.5 years, he'd been placed on parole. After leaving the prison, he'd requested and had been granted an out-of-state leave. In checking Bishop's M.O., we found that it matched exactly that of the thieves who'd held up the Lockton Market. The time of approach was the same. The number of men used was the same. The method of leaving the scene was exact. We had a suspect, and yet he couldn't have committed the crime. 3 weeks passed. On Saturday, November 26th, the thieves hit again. In checking with the victims, they identified the mugshot of Bishop. We put in a long-distance call to the Phoenix Police Department and asked them to check on the suspect. We got word back that he was in their city. They told us that he wasn't at work due to a virus infection. They went on to say that they'd checked with his landlady and that she'd told them that Bishop hadn't left his apartment at all on the day of the theft. Monday, November 28th, we got our first break in the case.
I'll get it. Robbery, Smith. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jerry. Uh-huh. You sure about that? Where? Uh-huh. How about the rest of them? Yeah, just a minute. Toss me that pad, will you,
Yeah,
Joe?
here you go.
Okay, Jerry. Go ahead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How do you spell that? L-A? L-E-A-H-Y? Uh-huh, I got it. Mm-hmm. You know the address? Yeah. Okay, thanks, Jerry. We'll get in touch with you. Right. Jerry Evanston, remember the guy we talked to over on South 7th?
Yeah?
Well, the way he tells it, we aren't too far off.
How do you mean?
He saw Bishop in town last Saturday.
We put in a call, and we found that there were 2 major airlines with flights to Phoenix. The flight time they listed was 1 hour and 35 minutes by air. If Bishop caught the last flight leaving Phoenix, he could arrive in Los Angeles at 11:20 p.m., the night before he planned to commit a robbery. The next day after the holdup, he could catch a plane from the Los Angeles International Airport that would have him back in Phoenix at 8:25 p.m. By doing this, he would be absent from his work only 1 day, and he could schedule his flights so as not to hit on the days when he had an interview with his parole officer. Tuesday, November 29th, a meeting was held in Chief Thad Brown's office. It was decided to put a special stakeout on the airport and wait for the suspect to come into town. At that time, he'd be followed and taken into custody as he prepared to commit another robbery. The names of the 3 other men Jerry Evanston had given Frank as having been involved in the holdups had been checked through R&I. All 3 of them had arrest records. Surveillances were placed on their homes, and they were kept under constant watch. Monday, December 12th, 11:15 p.m. Frank and I relieved the stakeout at the airport.
There's a bench over there. We can keep all the gates in view.
Yeah.
Wonder when he's going to hit again.
I don't know. The last couple of weeks have sure dragged by, haven't they?
Yeah. Anything on the other 3 guys?
Well, I talked to Pinky Meade this morning. He and Leitner are staked out at Leahy's apartment.
How they doing?
Nothing. They're parking the car down the street. From what they say, Leahy's like a clock. He comes in at 5 a.m., leaves at 9 p.m. every day. You got a cigarette?
Yeah. Here you go.
Thanks.
Joe.
Yeah. There's Bishop. Let's let him get outside.
Yeah. Wonder if he's got any luggage.
Well, they bring it up outside. We can wait for him there. Now, come on.
You see him?
Yeah, there he is. Getting into that cab. Come on. Frank and I got in our car and followed the cab taken by the suspect. We followed him out of the airport grounds and then up La Brea Avenue. The cab turned right on Washington Boulevard and headed for downtown Los Angeles. We pulled up to a stoplight.
Still got him?
Yeah, he's still up ahead, in front of that blue Mercury. See him?
Yeah. You got the number of the cab?
Mm-hmm. 2974.
There's the light.
All right, let's go. Better try to pick it up a little, Frank. Cab's pulling away from us.
Yeah. Think he's seen us?
No. Can't you close in a little?
Traffic's too heavy. Can't use the siren. We'll trip him.
Yeah.
Still see him?
Yeah. There's a break. Guy ahead's making a right turn. Now we're right behind the cab.
Yeah. I'll close in now.
Good. Watch it, Frank. That guy pulling out of the alley.
Hold on.
As we drove down the street after the stoplight had changed, the car had failed to make a boulevard stop coming out of an alley, and we'd hit it broadside. The damage done to both cars was considerable, and we'd lost our suspect. Frank got to a phone and called the office. He gave them the number of the cab that Bishop was in and asked for a traffic investigation car. The office started a search for the missing suspect. Lieutenant Jack Smyers told us to proceed to the apartment of Tom Leahy to wait for further development. In the meantime, a citywide broadcast went out carrying the description of Bishop and the other 3 men involved in the theft. Frank and I arrived at the apartment, and we relieved Meade and Leitner. We had the manager of the place let us into Leahy's room. We waited. 1:30 a.m., 2:30, 4 o'clock, 5:30 a.m. Frank and I had been on duty for over 21 hours. At 5:45, the phone in the apartment rang once, and then it quit. That was the arranged signal between us and the office. Frank put in a call. Lieutenant Smyers told us that officers Max Herman and Ed Benson were on the way out to relieve us. 15 minutes later, we heard somebody in the hall.
Joe?
Yeah, probably Benson and Herman.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Watch it,
Look
Joe.
out, look out. Give it up, Bishop.
You all right, Joe?
Yeah, come on.
He's going upstairs.
Making for the roof. Come on.
See him?
No. You want to take that side?
Right.
Watch it.
Behind the elevator shaft, Joe.
Yeah, I see him.
Get away from me, cop.
You're in trouble, Bishop. Don't build any more for yourself.
I got nothing to lose. They nail me again. I'll be up at the joints for life. Don't cost no more to kill you.
There's no way off this roof, Bishop. Throw that gun out here and you follow it.
You're out of your mind, cop.
Give it up, Bishop. Now, come on, throw that gun out.
I'm going out, cop. You try to stop me, I'll blow your head off.
You all right, Joe?
Yeah.
How is he?
Now, better call an ambulance.
Yeah. What's that fill out of his pocket?
Wait a minute. Something he'll never use.
Yeah?
Airplane ticket to Phoenix.
Albert Martin Kruger, Harold Nelson Bishop, Thomas Nagel Leahy, and Charles Everett Lee were taken into custody and brought to trial for 2 counts of robbery in the first degree. They were convicted and received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 5 years. Because of his previous record, Thomas Nagel Leahy was given the maximum sentence and is now serving life imprisonment in the state penitentiary, Folsom, California.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
ladies and gentlemen. The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. In the past 2 months, a thief has broken into 18 markets. There's no lead to his whereabouts, no clue to his identity. Your job? Get him.
It was Monday, December 14th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We were on our way out of the office, and it was 8:05 a.m. when we got to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. Sergeant Lindsay Simmons' office.
Yeah? Well, did you give it to him? Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, what'd he say? Yeah. When did he come back? Uh-huh. Well, did he have it for you? Yeah. Well, that'll teach you not to go that route anymore. All right, Patrick. Tell the sergeant to call me when he gets back. Right. Oh, hi, Friday Smith.
How are you, Lindsay?
Morning, Sergeant.
Just talking to Gene Patrick over at Highland Park. You know him?
Yeah, I met him a couple of times.
Picked up a youngster a couple of days ago on suspicion of burglary. Brought him into the office, and Patrick talked to him.
Yeah.
Well, he finally bought it that the kid didn't have anything to do with the theft, so he told him to go home.
Uh-huh.
Kid told Gene he didn't have the money to get home, so Gene gave him 20 cents. Kid swore he'd come in and pay it back.
Did he?
Yeah, he came in this morning, gave Patrick 2 dimes. Told him thanks for believing the story.
Mm-hmm.
Then Patrick got the kicker. Kid really did break into a house last night to get the money.
What's Patrick got to say about that?
Says the kid's honest in a sort of way. Did pay him back.
Well, where's the youngster now?
Got him over Highland Park Juvenile.
I better call Gene. Maybe I can give him a hand. I got a couple of streetcar tokens I won't be using. Might like to have them. Huh?
Oh, hold it. If I was you, I don't think I'd bring it up to him for a couple of days. Well, what can I do for you two?
Well, Lindsay, we've been working on a string of burglaries. You maybe got the word on them.
Well, I don't think so. What's the story?
Bunch of store burglaries. Papers that tagged them the milk bottle job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, seems Hartgrove was telling me something about him the other day. Where do we come in?
Well, the way the jobs look, we've been thinking that maybe they belong in your department instead of ours.
How you figure that?
First off, the milk thing.
What do you mean?
Every job he's pulled, we found an empty milk bottle on the counter.
Okay, what's that prove?
Well, milk and kids go together.
Sure, so do milk and ulcers. Maybe your thief's got the bull horrors when he gets into the store.
No, Lindsay, there's another thing. The way he prowls the places. All he takes is petty cash. Just a couple of bucks outside. Candy, cigarettes, nothing big. Some of the places he's gone into, you could open the safe with a pocket knife, and he hasn't even made a move toward him.
Maybe he's a kleptomaniac. Got a lot of them on the books. Maybe that's the way he gets his kicks.
Oh, it's a nice try, Lindsay. If you know anybody that can climb through a 14 by 10-inch hole, you trot him up and we'll talk to him.
Okay, I haven't got the names on my desk, but you take a trip to Santa Anita, you'll meet a lot of them. Jockeys. You guys know we'll go along with you on this thing, anything we can do, but until we're sure that there's a juvenile involved, there's nothing we can do. Anything turns up, we'll be sure to turn it over to you.
Now, look, we're not trying to palm this thing off on you, Lindsay. We've had the stats office make so many runs on small adults that the cards are wearing out. It just seems that none of the leads we've been chasing come out anywhere. We figured that maybe you could come up with some answers for us.
Oh, it's a new one on me, Joe, this milk bet. I've heard of a couple of thieves that went for it, but I can't name you a juvenile offhand. I'll pass the word around the day watch, see what they can come up with. I'll leave a note for Hartgrove. He can pass it on the night watch.
Well, appreciate anything you can do.
No trouble. Been running you ragged on this, huh?
It's pretty rough. It's just that we can't seem to be able to come up with anything that adds.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Georgia Street Juvenile, Sergeant Simmons. Yeah. Yeah, they're here. Which one? Okay, hang on. For you, Joe, your office.
Thank you. Friday talking. Yeah. Right away. What's the address? Uh-huh, yeah. No, I got it. We'll leave right away. Who? Yeah, call him. Thanks. Well, come on, let's go. The milk bottle kid, he hit again. The call had come from Lieutenant Ginder in burglary. He told us that he'd just gotten a call from a storekeeper named Monty Darabertis. The man had called to report a burglary at his store at the corner of Jackson and Broadway Streets. Lieutenant Ginder told us that the crime lab had been notified and had dispatched a crew to investigate the premises for physical evidence. Frank and I left Georgia Street Juvenile, and we drove over to Figueroa. Then we turned over onto Broadway. The store that had been broken into was a small Italian delicatessen on the southeast corner. By the time we got there, the crime lab crew had already arrived and was winding up their investigation. We walked into the place, and we met with Ray Pinker.
Hi, Joe.
Frank.
Ray?
Hi, Ray.
How's it going?
Usual thing. Bottle of milk on the counter. You want to check it over?
Yeah.
Come on back here. Thief made his entrance back here at the rear of the store. There it is. Broke out the window pane.
Yeah, not very big, huh?
It measures 9.5 by 12 3/4.
No alarm on the window, huh?
Yeah, you can see the wires here. Take a look.
Oh, yeah. How come the alarm didn't go off?
I talked to the owner. He said he's had trouble with the alarm system last couple of weeks. Called the company and asked them to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
He thought it was okay. Guess there's something wrong someplace. Didn't work last night.
What kind of alarm was it, Ray?
Outside on the building. You know the kind.
Yeah.
What did he take this time, Ray?
Usual run of stuff. According to the owner, there are about 4 cartons of cigarettes missing, several boxes of candy. Can't be absolutely sure. So he's got to check his stock. Be better if you talk to him on that.
Yeah, we will. We'll catch him later.
Want to wait a minute? I'll check and see how the boys are doing on the prints. Had them check the counter and the milk bottle.
Fine, thanks, Ray.
Be right back.
Bye.
Well, I wonder when we're going to blow the whistle on this guy.
I don't know. Can't do it fast enough for me.
Well, then with you.
Hey, Joe. Look at this. Yeah, I'd like to get a couple of those before we leave.
What are you talking about?
Salami, Joe. Those right there, the hard Italian kind. See, right there?
Yeah.
I remember last summer I was up in San Francisco.
Yeah, I remember.
Went up there to pick up a prisoner. Remember you were collecting days off?
Yeah, I recall. I had 100 of them coming.
Yeah, pretty funny. Anyway, I met Dan Shelley up there.
You mean the Irish tenor?
Yeah, he and I went down to Cookie's bar for lunch. Cookie had some of this salami. Sliced it like paper. You could almost read through it.
Oh, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I know, Joe. Anyway, Cookie sliced up a bunch of it, served it with cold cracked crab. Boy, I never tasted anything so good in my life.
Yeah, don't you ever read the newspaper through sliced salami?
Yeah? Well, I never have. Have you?
All the time.
Just the funnies. Well, anyway, Faye's tried to find them for me. Salami like this. Brought home all kind of things, but she's never found the right kind. You know, they'd be hard enough to pound tacks with them. She got them home. Boy, never forget old Cookie and that spread.
Well, if you can get your mind off food for a minute, and I know that'll be tough, let's get on with this thing, shall we?
Yeah. Sure got to buy some of these before we leave. Just like Cookie had.
Yeah.
Just finished with powder, Joe.
Yeah.
Nothing. Whoever it was drank the milk. He took the bottle out of the refrigeration compartment. Bottle sweated, and there isn't a print on it we can lift.
Oh, that's too bad. None of them any place, huh?
Yeah, we've gone over the place from top to bottom. So there, we can't find them.
Well, it's not much help, is it?
Came up with one thing. Maybe you can make something out of it.
What's that?
Outside the window in the back parking lot. Came up with an open package of cigarettes. Don't know if it belonged to the thief.
Anything on it?
No. Fog last night ruined any prints that were on it. Boys have got it if you want it.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a look at it. Looks like everything's against us, huh? Another blank.
Don't envy you guys trying to break this one. Most of the time there's a leak someplace. Somewhere along the line, the guy's going to make a mistake and not cover something.
Yeah, we've been saying that for weeks.
This is either the smartest thief I've ever seen or the luckiest. What's this make for him?
Number 19.
A lot of chances to take for nothing. He's not getting anything out of the jobs.
Maybe he isn't, but we are.
What?
Headaches. 9:38 a.m. We talked to the victim. He told us that as near as he could figure, there was approximately $4 stolen from the store. He went on to say that he'd ascertained that 5 cartons of cigarettes and several boxes of candy bars were taken. He was unable to tell us if any other merchandise was taken until he'd made a complete inventory. He went on to tell us that there was over $600 in the safe, but that as far as he could tell, there'd been no attempt to break into it. We made a canvass of the neighborhood and talked with the neighbors. None of them recalled having seen any suspicious people in the neighborhood the night before. None of them had seen any suspicious automobiles in the area. The one thing that was apparent was that the thief was working in a definite pattern. He worked only on Friday and Saturday nights, always between 8 p.m. and 12 midnight. Frank and I met with Captain Bernard, and it was decided that we would maintain a rolling stakeout in the area in which the suspect operated. 4 other cars from Metro Reserves were assigned to work with us. For the next 5 nights, we worked without results. It was slow and tedious, but considering the lack of information on the thief, it was the only way we had left. We had to be on or near the scene when the thief struck again. Saturday night, December 19th, Frank and I met and drove out to the area. The streets were crowded with early Christmas shoppers.
I'll sure be glad when it's over.
Why? What's the matter?
How many rooms in your apartment, Joe?
3. You know that. You've been there.
Yeah. No, that won't be enough room.
What are you talking about?
Faye?
What's Faye got to do with this?
Hack, Joe. Real hack.
Why? What's the matter?
I got up this morning. I felt great. Faye's got breakfast on the table. All nice. A couple eggs, little pig sausages. Nice, you know.
Yeah.
I come down to the table. She's got the food on, and I hit her with it.
What, the food?
No, Joe. I hit her with what I'm about to tell her. I tell her I'm going to have to work tonight.
You worked every night this week. What's wrong with that?
Well, that's the way I figure it, so I got a way out.
You have, huh?
Today is Faye's birthday.
Well, you didn't tell me.
It's not good to tell people, Joe.
Oh, it isn't?
No. Faye's over 30.
Yeah. I kind of figured that.
Don't you get it?
I'm sorry, pal. You left me a couple of blocks back on this one.
Look,
I may never catch up.
Faye's over 30, Joe. She's getting to the point where she's taken off years, see? How can you give a person a last birthday present?
Yeah.
I tell you about it. You're going to give her a present. Only now instead of 30, she's 29. You understand?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, no. But as long as you do, it's perfectly all right with me.
Yeah.
What about this morning?
Well, I told her I was going to have to go to work. I got this present for her. Brand new deep fat fryer. Real good.
What?
All wrapped up. Deep fat fryer. All wrapped up with ribbon. Beautiful, shiny, beautiful.
So you gave it to her. Did it do any good?
Not a pound. You know what she does with it?
Well, at this point, I wouldn't even want to guess.
I'm serious, Joe. This may mean the end of my home.
Go ahead.
She doesn't even open it. Just puts it in the closet on the back porch. Doesn't even pull the paper apart to peek at what's in it. Real mad, Joe. She may not let me back in the house tonight.
Well, you can apologize when you get home.
I don't know, Joe. Faye's pretty sore. Didn't even open the present. Not
Wait a
even
minute.
a peek, huh?
Listen.
Yeah. Tell where it's coming from?
Yeah, sounds like up on 7th. Come on. Yeah, right here. Pull up. Come on.
I'll take the front.
All right. Hey, hold it up there. Police officer, stop or I'll shoot. Frank, he's coming around your way.
Okay. Take it easy.
You go ahead and shoot. Go on and kill me. Go ahead and shoot me. It doesn't matter anymore. Go
Everything
on.
all right?
Yeah. Just a kid, Joe.
Let's see.
What are you doing in the store, son?
What do you think I'm doing?
He asked you a question, son.
Pretty stupid. What do you think I was doing?
How many stores you broken into, son?
Figure it out for yourself.
Look, what do you got a chip on your shoulder
You're
for?
big guys. Don't give me a lot of conversation. Do what you want to do.
All right, boy, you called it. Come on. 11:50 p.m. We called the office and told them that we had a subject in custody and that we were taking him to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. We put the boy in our car and we waited until a radio car arrived. We asked the officers to notify the owner of the store and stand by until he got there. We also asked that they make a 459 report. 11:55 p.m. We started to take the youngster to the Juvenile Bureau. What's your name, son?
What difference does it make?
Acting like that isn't going to help you.
You guys picked me up, remember? You worry about it. I got nothing to be afraid
Oh,
of.
yes, you have, boy. You could have been shot back there.
Maybe you should have pulled the trigger.
Look, son, what's the matter with you? Why are you acting like this? You just got real lucky back there. That's the only reason you're alive now. It was dark in there. As far as I could tell, you were an adult. You didn't stop when I told you to. Now, according to the book, I could have shot you. You know that, don't you?
Killing the kid. That'd make you a big man.
No, I'm just bringing it up to prove a point.
Save it.
Now, look, son. I'm going to tell you something. When you break into a place at night, you're not a kid anymore. You're asking for trouble. You got both your pockets full of it. The way you work tonight makes us think you're mixed up in a lot more thefts than just tonight.
That right?
You ever been arrested before?
No.
Never been in trouble with the law, huh?
Sure. I'm a real criminal. I got a ticket once for riding my bike through a boulevard stop. Radio car stopped me and tagged me. Big deal. But they're going to send me to San Quentin. Maybe you can give me the gas chamber.
How old are you?
What difference does that make?
How old are you?
You figure it.
All right, you look like you're about 11 to me.
That's what everybody thinks. I'll be 15 my next birthday.
Don't kid us, son.
It's the truth. 15. That's what I'll be. 15.
When were you born?
1939, November 2nd.
You're small for your age, aren't you?
Why do you say that?
Aren't you?
It's got nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. I can do anything any other kid can do. Anything. Don't you forget that.
What's the matter with you? Is that a sore point with you?
Huh?
Your size, is that a sore point?
There's nothing wrong with my size. Doctor says that I'm all right. Just that some people aren't meant to be as big as others, that's all. There's nothing wrong with me.
Now, come on, son. What's your name? Now, look, you know we're going to find out.
How are you going to find out?
We will. Now, why don't you save us all a lot of time and tell us the truth here?
Be better if you did.
If I do tell you, you going to put it in the papers?
What?
I tell you, there are going to be a lot of reporters around. My name going to get in the papers?
Not from us.
Can't tell you then.
You mean if there's no reporters around, you aren't going to tell us your name? Is that it?
That's the way it is.
It's kind of funny, isn't it?
Maybe that's the way it looks to you.
Where do you live?
Can't tell you that either.
But you got things all wrong, son. It isn't what you want to tell us. That's got nothing to do with this. You're going to tell us what we want to know sooner or later.
Where are we going?
Georgia Street.
That's where the jail is.
Why do you ask that?
Because I want to know.
Yeah, there's a jail there.
Reporters?
What?
They're going to be reporters there.
What is this thing with reporters and you? What's this all about?
Reporters put your name in the papers, don't they?
Sometimes.
Well, you get the reporters all lined up. You get them from all the papers. You have them there, and I'll tell you all about it, the whole story. You just get the reporters and the photographers. Be sure about them, because I want some pictures, too.
Well, look, let me get this straight.
What?
You say you aren't going to give us any information without the press being there. Is that right?
That's the way it's going to be.
Well, you got it wrong, boy.
What?
Doesn't make any difference who's there. You're going to come around.
Yeah.
We'll find out. 12:10 a.m. We got to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. Frank pulled the car into the side alley, and we took the subject out of the back seat.
Up this way, son.
It's a seedy-looking place.
Yeah, well, it's been here a long time.
Looks like a set out of a picture.
Don't you worry about it, huh? You want to take him down the hall, Frank? I'll check with Hargrove.
Yeah. Come on, boy.
Hi, Friday. Working kind of late, aren't you?
Yeah, we are.
I got the note from Simmons on the milk burglaries. Checked around the night watch. Nothing on it, so I didn't call you.
I don't think you have to worry about it. I think we got the answer.
Yeah?
We just picked up a kid. We got him dead to rights in the market. Open bottle of milk right next to the cash register.
Where is he now?
Frank's got him down the hall.
You think he's your boy?
Well, looks like it. Everything adds up. The entrance, what he tried to take, the milk. All along seems to fit.
You got that kind of a case. What are you worrying about?
Just two things.
Yeah?
Who he is and why he did it.
He won't tell you?
No. He's got some big thing working about the press. Says he won't give us anything without reporters being there.
Makes it rough, Joe. You know the policy.
Yeah, I do. He won't let us help him.
If he wants publicity, take me down. Introduce me as a reporter.
Well, it might do it.
Won't do any harm to try. Let's go.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Who am I going to be?
Well, tell him you're Sid Hughes from the Mirror, huh?
Yeah, might as well be one of the good ones.
Son, you wanted to talk to somebody from the papers. It's against the policy, but we swung it for you. This is Sid Hughes from the Mirror.
Hi.
You the fellow that held that guy on the phone in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Great. I read all about it. You gonna write me up like that?
I hope not, son. There were 2 men killed in that operation.
I read all the stories. Everybody did. That's how I mean for you to write me up, with a picture.
What makes you think you got it coming? You break into one store and try to steal a couple of cartons of cigarettes. That doesn't make the first page.
One store? I got into 19 of them. 19 before they caught me. That's important, isn't it? That's a story.
I don't know. It might be.
A couple of things we better get straightened out here. First off, what's your name?
Better get your notebook out. Be able to take all this down.
Don't worry about it, son. You just answer the questions. I'll get it.
Yeah. Okay. My name's Elroy Graham. That's ELROYGRAHAM.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I told you once, almost 15.
You said you'd broken into 19 stores. Is that right?
Yeah, 19. Might have made 'em more, but something went wrong tonight. Had trouble with the burglar alarm. Thought I'd turned it off. Bad mistake. Be still working if it wasn't for that. Guess it only takes one, though, huh, Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, I guess so.
You want to tell us why you did it?
What?
You had to have a reason for committing these robberies. You want to tell us what it was?
Sure. Good reason. Real good.
All right, tell us.
Well, you see, I always had trouble at school. Never seemed to quite make it. All the guys liked me. They all did. All the girls do, too. Got girls calling me almost every night asking me to take them to dances, stuff like that. I don't go much for stuff like that. You can understand, can't you, Mr. Hughes?
Go ahead, Elroy.
Well, they wanted me for all the teams, football, basketball. All the time asking me to play. But I figure if you want to get ahead in the world, You gotta have an aim. Someplace where you want to get. Figure out that. Work for it, and you're gonna get there. Don't you find that true, Mr. Hughes?
Go ahead.
That's the way it was with me. All the time turning down offers to be on some team. Telling some girl that I couldn't take her to a dance. Just didn't have the time. Somehow I just couldn't make it. You can understand it. You've been around. You know all the successful kind of people. You write something and a lot of people read it. You know what I mean. Don't you? Well, what's the matter? Something wrong? I'm trying to tell you what happened. I'm giving it to you straight. What's the matter?
Now you want to tell us the truth, Elroy.
What?
I don't know why you're trying to sell us this line, boy. It isn't necessary. I don't know why you did what you did, but I do know you had a reason for it. Now, that's all we want to know, just the reason.
You don't believe me?
Afraid not.
How about you?
No, son, I don't.
Mr. Hughes?
No.
Can't even lie right. Can't even tell a lie good. All my life I've been trying to be like other kids. All the time getting beat up, getting left out of things. You know why? Do you know?
Go ahead, son.
Big reason. Biggest reason in the world. Because I'm almost 15 years old. I'm 4 feet 7 inches tall. 4 feet 7. Weight 97 pounds. That ain't very big, not big enough. All the time, other kids shoving you around. All the time you're the joke. Gets to the time when you figure it's easy to laugh, too. Because if you don't, some kid's going to beat you up. Gets to the point where you don't care anymore. I used to clip out those coupons and send them in. Get the books back on how to build myself up. Worked at it. Didn't do nothing for me. I was still 4 feet 7 and weighed 97 pounds. All the stuff I took didn't do no good. Still came out 4 feet 7, 97 pounds.
All right, son. You want to tell us about the burglaries?
I did it to be big, that's why. I had the things other people wanted, cigarettes, candy, the other things kids wanted. I had all that stuff that the other kids wanted. Made me important. Don't you see that? You gotta understand it, Mr. Hughes. That's why I wanted my picture in the paper. That's why I wanted the story. So the kids would know that I'd done something big. So they know.
All right, son. It's going to be all right here.
No, it isn't. Like everything else I tried to do, I loused it up. I didn't mean to steal, but it was the only thing to do. The only way I had.
Now, wasn't there some other?
No. No, there wasn't. All the time the other kids laughing. All the time talking. I just couldn't stand it anymore. I just couldn't.
Here you go.
Thanks. You can understand it, can't you? It makes sense.
What's that, son?
Wasn't so much the kids saying I was little.
Yeah.
But I didn't want them to think I was small.
A.m. We contacted the parents of the Graham boy and asked them to come down to the station. We talked to them for an hour and tried to fill them in. In view of the fact that the parents of the subject were responsible persons, the boy was booked for violation of Section 459PC, delinquent, and he was released to his parents pending his hearing in juvenile court. 5 days passed, and we heard nothing from the boy. On December 24th, Frank and I checked into the office.
Friday?
Yeah, Earl.
Kid in the back wants to see you and Smith.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Mr. Friday.
Oh, hello, Elroy. What can we do for you?
Well, I guess you think it's kind of funny.
What's that?
I want to tell you that I sure think it's good what you did for me. Helped me with that burglary thing the other night.
Well, it isn't over yet, son. The court still has to make a decision on it.
Yeah. But what you did to make me feel better. As far as I'm concerned, whatever the judge decides, I'll go along with it. I had a long talk with my folks, so we got it all talked out. All the way talked out.
Well, that's good, son. We're glad of it, son.
Maybe you guys won't like it. I mean, me knowing you such a short time and all. But I wanted to bring you these. Merry Christmas.
Oh, that's awful nice of you, Elroy, but it isn't necessary.
I want to give them to you anyway. For what you did for me.
Oh, that's mighty nice of you, all right. Sure appreciate it.
A couple of packages of cigarettes. Hope they're the kind you smoke.
Yeah, son, they'll be fine.
Thanks, son.
Well, see you guys around, huh?
Yeah, sure, son.
Just one more thing, Sergeant.
Yeah, son?
Just thought you'd like to know.
Yeah, what's that?
I didn't steal those.
Elroy Merton Graham appeared before the juvenile court where he admitted the alleged burglaries. At this time, under the counsel of the judge of the juvenile court, the subject was placed under the care of the probation department for a period of 3 years, with the provision that his parents take him to a competent psychiatrist.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A gang of truck hijackers has been working in your city. They've stolen 14 loaded trucks. They've kidnapped and beaten one of the drivers. There's no clue to their identity. Your job? Get them.
It was Wednesday, June 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 9:47 a.m. when we got to the county hospital. Ward 419.
Hi.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yeah. I know you guys?
No, sir. We're police officers. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I do.
Hello. A couple of stools over there. Drag them up. Sit down.
I'll get him. Here you go.
Thanks. How do you feel, Mr. Gilmore?
Rough. Real rough. Feel like I've ridden 50 miles in the back of a ready-mix cement truck. Weren't for the pills they'd be giving me, I think I'd go off my rocker.
Mm-hmm. You want to tell us what happened?
Yeah, as much as I can remember. Only goes so far, then there's a room full of black.
If you'll tell us what you can, please.
Yeah. Yesterday, that's when it was.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday morning. I checked in for work. Had a load I was going to take over to Phoenix. Supposed to shove off about 10:15.
Did you know what you were carrying?
Yeah. I saw the way bill. Some of the stuff they were loading. Used furniture. Didn't make any difference to me. They load the truck and I'll drive it.
Uh-huh.
I went across the street. Little coffee place over there. Got my vacuum bottle filled and came back. By that time, they had the truck loaded. I signed the way bill in the office and went out and got into the truck. The two guys were waiting for me.
They were in the cab of the truck, huh?
Yeah. I was sitting there, kind of scrunched down so you couldn't even see them from the outside.
Yes, sir.
As soon as I opened the door, one of them had a gun pointed at me. Told me to get into the truck like there was nothing wrong. Just start the motor and get the truck away from me.
Did they get out of the truck at that time?
No, they were waiting for me when I got there. They told me to drive away, and I did. Wasn't going to mess around with them having a gun.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we drove about 3 blocks, and he told me to pull into an alley just off of Santa Fe.
Santa Fe and what, do you remember?
By Porter Street, between Porter and Enterprise.
I see. Like to go ahead?
Then they told me to pull into the alley, and when I did, they made me get out of the truck. Took me around back and broke the seal and told me to get inside.
And that's what you did?
Officer, if they'd have told me to jump off the city hall, I'd have gone ahead and done it with that gun pointed at me. I'm a coward. Fellow waves a gun around, and I'm going to do just like he tells me.
Yes, sir.
Those guys were mean, you could tell.
How's that?
Oh, I'm a kind of a student of phrenology. I could tell about those fellows real plain.
Student of what?
Phrenology. You know, bumps on the head.
Oh.
They all mean something. Of course, I didn't get a chance to make a good examination of these guys, but I could see it. Real criminal heads. Bumps told me so. One fellow had a head that was one of the worst I'd ever seen.
Yes, sir.
He was mean to his mother, I could tell. Had a bump right here. Here, you see?
Huh. Yeah.
He was mean to his mother.
Yes, sir. Well, what happened after they tied you up?
Just left me there.
I see. You want to go on?
Yeah. They must have drove for about 20 minutes when they stopped. Pulled in some sort of a driveway.
How you figure that?
Well, right after they stopped, they made a half U-turn, then backed up. Backed up this ramp. Steep. Then they stopped and took me out of the truck. Blindfolded me and made me get out of the truck.
Now, this place where they stopped, that's where they unloaded the furniture, did they?
Yeah. They must have taken it out of there. I heard them thumping around in the truck. Sounded like they were unloading it.
Well, now, what'd they do after they got all the furniture out?
Put me back in, drove out to where you found the truck. After they both climbed into the back, beat me up. Don't remember much after that.
Mm-hmm. Both of them worked you over, huh?
Yeah. Both of them got in their licks, especially the one who was mean to his mother. He was vicious. He was mean. They kept hitting me with their fists until I just passed out. Don't remember anything after that till I came to in the back of the truck. That's when I called the cops and the guys in uniform came out. I guess they're the ones who called you.
Yes, sir.
Now, is there any way that you might be able to tell us where they took you?
You mean when they unloaded the furniture?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think maybe I got an idea. I tried to figure out how fast they was driving. And after you've been a driver for a while, you get to know. I'd say they was going about 20 miles an hour. We were still in town. My own guess is that they went out Alameda. Must have gone out Santa Fe and then turned on to Alameda.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing kids yelling. That'd probably be Santa Fe High School.
Yeah.
I guess we went out Alameda to maybe 43rd or 44th, and they turned right. Kind of hard to figure it then. The truck got tied up in traffic. It was hard to tell if they were stopping for that or they're just at a light. You know.
Uh-huh.
But I'd say that they went up to about Avalon. You know. Maybe they went up to San Pedro. I don't think so. I'd say Avalon. Then they turned left and headed for Hawthorne. Not sure how far they went, but I'd figure maybe around Rosecrans, and then they turned a couple more times and they stopped and drove up that steep ramp.
Mm-hmm. Now, you figure they ended up around Rosecrans and Avalon.
Yeah. Guess that's not much help, though, huh?
Well, it gives us an idea where to start looking.
Well, a couple other things that might help you.
What's that?
Well, it seems that when we started to back up the ramp, I heard a bump, like they backed into a car. They didn't hit it hard, but I bet they did hit a car.
Yeah.
After that, they pulled the truck forward and stopped and backed up again. This time they scraped into the side of a house. I could feel it run along the side of the truck. It sounded like they might have torn up some of the wood on the house.
Yeah.
Will that help any?
Yes, sir. We'll have our crime lab check the truck and see if they can come up with anything.
Sure hope you can. Oh, you talked to my boss yet?
No, sir, but he's been notified, we understand.
I bet he's plenty sore about it.
Well, we wouldn't know about that, but he should understand that it wasn't your fault.
He should, but he won't. I know.
That right?
Yeah. He doesn't understand anything that doesn't go on his way. Spotted a mile off.
What's that, sir?
His head. All kinds of bumps.
10:06 a.m. We continued to question the victim, Russell Gilmore. He gave us descriptions of the two men who'd kidnapped him. He also told us that at one time he heard one of the men call the other by the name Leo. Further, he told us that when the two bandits had taken him from the truck, they'd placed him in a garage. He was able to feel the wall, and he said that he was sure it was a plaster wall, inasmuch as he could feel the studs and the wire holding the plaster. He said that at one time he heard a woman come out of a house and say something to the thieves while they unloaded the truck. He told us that the garage wasn't very large because there was no echo on the sounds that were made in the building. We called the office and got out a supplementary broadcast on the thieves carrying their descriptions. 10:40 a.m. Frank and I left the county hospital and drove over to Central Station. We went up to the crime lab and talked to Ray Pinker.
On the right rear fender, we found evidence the truck had hit a car. Lifted some paint chips. Got them here.
Uh-huh. Looks like a blue car, huh?
Yeah. I checked the paint with a Ditzer Production color book. Here, I'll show you. I got all the paints cataloged by color.
Uh-huh.
Here. This is the one.
Yeah, but Ray, there are a lot of blues there. How can you be sure this is it?
Well, here. You see they got a color patch on each page in the book? A hole in the patch?
Oh, this little hole here, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, we just put this chip we lifted from the truck in the hole. I'll lay it down. Get this lamp. There. Color matches. Get them the same light, and you can see they're the same paint.
Huh. Look at that, Joe. Same.
Yeah, I see. Well, what do we got out of it, Ray?
Car the truck hit was a 1953 Hudson Jet. It was a single-tone car. You know, the top color matches the body color.
Yeah.
They only use this on one-color cars unless you got a special order.
Mm-hmm. Did you find any house paint on the side of the truck, Ray?
Yeah. Over here. Might be able to do a little better on that for you.
Uh-huh.
House the truck ran into is about 36 years old. Might be a little more than that, but it's right around there.
How could you come up with that?
Been painted 18 times. Figure once every 2 years, you come out with 36.
Yeah. Well, how do we know it's been painted every 2 years?
We don't, Frank. Just guessing. But the layers of paint are pretty even. Might indicate they did it regularly. You know, didn't let the paint go too far before they redid it.
Oh, yeah.
Here are the chips of the house paint. Here, I'll put one of them under the microscope. Here, take a look, Joe.
Okay.
You see okay?
I haven't got it. I'll adjust it. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Now, you notice the first coat was a cream white.
Mm-hmm.
And they stuck pretty much to that for the next half dozen paint jobs. Then they changed to a barn red. Then to a green, then back to cream white. And that goes on for 3 layers, and then to the blue that's on it now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Ray, if we find the house, can you tell us if it's the same one?
It shouldn't be too hard. Aren't many of them around.
Well, how many?
Well, 18 coats would be 18 factorial. That's multiplying 18 times 17 times 16 times 15, so on to times 1. I got it worked out for you.
I hope you have. I'm
Here.
not with you at all. Here.
Well, look. Works out to 1 in 6 quadrillion, 402 trillion, 373 billion, 705 million, 728,000 chances of finding its twin.
Oh. That's pretty long odds.
Well, if every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth owned 10 houses apiece, there wouldn't be another one like it.
$11:37 a.m. We put in a call to Leighton Prince. Harlan Stahl told us that his crew had gone over the truck thoroughly, but had failed to come up with anything. We contacted the stats office and asked them to make a run on the M.O. that the thieves had used. They told us that the results would be ready for us late in the afternoon. We contacted hit and run detail, but there'd been no reports that could have been the car that the truck had hit. We went to the office and got a large map of the city. Then we drove out to the county hospital to talk to the victim again. We asked him to trace his movements while he'd been held prisoner in the back of the truck. He drew a line down Santa Fe Avenue, up to Alameda, then over to Avalon Boulevard on 43rd Street. From there, he traced the streets down to Rosecrans Avenue. He drew a circle on the map centered on the intersection of Rosecrans Avenue and Avalon Boulevard. He told us that we'd find the house we were looking for inside the circle. Before we left him, we made arrangements for the mugshots to be taken to the hospital for him to check for a possible identification of the suspect. 12:40 p.m. We contacted Records and Identification Division and asked them if they'd had any luck on running the name Leo. We were told that they had 3 possibles for us. The addresses on the packages were not in the area that had been circled by the victim, Russell Gilmore. We got in touch with Lieutenant Jack Smyers and filled him in on the developments. He called Metro Division and made arrangements for 3 additional teams of men to work with us in a search of the streets within the circle drawn by the victim. He also contacted the divisional commanders and asked for their cooperation. The men were instructed to find a residence with a steep driveway leading to a detached garage. The house would have a wooden porch on the right side of the house as it faced the street. There would be damage to the wood on the porch. Also, there was a possibility that a Hudson automobile would be parked either in the driveway or on the street right next to it. The car would have some damage done to it. 5:15 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office from the search area.
Man, I'm sure tired.
Oh, I'm with you. A lot of streets out there.
Yeah, a lot of houses on the streets. Wonder how the guys from Metro are doing.
I don't know. I'll get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. Just a minute. Let me get there. Yeah, okay. Hang on to it. We'll be right out. Right. Well, the Metro boys did some good.
Huh?
The house. They found it. The address given us on the phone was 1486 Cedar Street down in Compton. It took us 35 minutes to get out there from the city hall. The officers from Metro Division Reserve stood by until we got there. We found the house located on Cedar between Dwight Street and Tawada Avenue. It was a 1-story frame building with a stucco garage in the rear of the lot. On the left front side of the house was a wooden porch which had been scraped by some large object. Several of the pickets in the railing were broken. On the street in front of the house next door, we found a 1953 Hudson Jet painted a light blue. There was a dent in the left rear fender. We couldn't tell for certain, but the color of the car and the color of the paint on the porch seemed to match the chips that we'd seen in the crime lab. While the officers from Metro covered the rear of the building, Frank and I rang the front doorbell. There was no answer. We checked the garage, but we found nothing that would tie the house owners in with a robbery kidnapping. The interior walls of the garage were rough wooden studs. Between them, we could see chicken wire embedded in plaster. The physical description of the house, the ramp leading to the garage itself, and the car parked on the street matched in every detail the picture that we'd been given by the victim. 6:10 p.m. We got the name Conrad Lewis from the mailbox in front of the house, and while the officers from Metro checked it with our office, Frank and I went next door to talk with the neighbors.
Yeah?
Wonder if we could talk to you, ma'am.
Sure. Who are you?
Well, it might be better if we got in off the porch.
You ain't coming in here unless I know who and what you are.
We're police officers.
Oh?
Yes, ma'am. Here's our identification.
Oh, yeah. Well, come on in.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Myrtle Richards.
This is my partner, Sergeant Friday. I'm Frank Smith.
Oh, how do you do?
How are you, ma'am?
You just sit down. I'll turn off the television.
Thank you.
comedy. I've seen it before a couple of times. I always laugh at them again, though. They're funny.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a great boon to the people, television. This one's only 12-inch, but I think maybe next year I'll get a bigger one, maybe even color. They got it now, you know. It's true color. It's beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, I ain't actually seen it myself. I just read about it, you know. Beautiful. Oh, I'm a great fan. I got it on all day, right from the early show to the late show. I understand next week one of them stations is going to start an early show. Now, that'll be nice, won't it?
Yes, ma'am, sure. I wonder if we could ask you a few questions.
Why, certainly. You just go right ahead.
That car out front, does that belong to you?
The blue one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's mine. I just got it a few months ago. That's what you're here about, huh?
I beg your pardon?
About how somebody hit my car. Big dent. Isn't that what you're here for?
No, not exactly. Do you know who hit your car?
No. I wish I did. If I knew, I'd sue 'em. Imagine hitting a car that's parked right at the curb and not leaving a note or something to say who did it. The person that ran into me must be insured. Wouldn't cost him nothing. All he had to do was leave a card.
Yes, ma'am. When was the automobile hit? Do you know?
Yesterday morning. I walked down to the market to do some shopping and get some things for dinner, pretzels, potato chips, things to eat while I watched the TV. When I got back, the dent was there. Did it while I was gone. Did it and didn't even leave a card.
Yes, ma'am. Could you tell us who lives next door to you, please?
Which side?
The left side over there.
Well, that's Lewis's house. Why are you asking about them?
How long have they lived there, do you know?
Yeah, I guess it's been about 10 years. They moved in right after Conrad. That's Mr. Lewis, right after he opened up the new store.
What line of business is he in?
Well, he got some kind of a shipping business. Has deals with different stores all over the state.
Did you see Mr. Lewis yesterday?
Yes. Matter of fact, I did. He come over like usual at 5:30.
He usually come over at that time, does he?
Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, yeah. You see, there's a TV show he likes to see. I watch it, but his wife don't care for it. She watches something else, so Conrad comes over here. He was here last night.
You see him during the day at all?
No, I didn't.
You know where they are tonight?
I'm not sure, but I think they went to the movies. Seems to me Mrs. Lewis said that her and Conrad was going to a show over in town.
That's probably for us. I'll get him.
I imagine so. Isn't anybody come calling on me this time of night?
Oh, it's Henderson, Joe. I'll be right back.
Right. Have you noticed any trucks in the neighborhood lately, Mrs. Richards?
Oh, well, I'll have to think about that for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You don't mean like the garbage you can truck, do you?
No, ma'am. Large moving vans.
See the others quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, now, let me see. Well, there were some people who just moved into a new house down the street. That was about a month ago. That'll help?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Richards.
Joe, see you a minute.
Yeah. Excuse me, please, Miss Richards.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
Henderson ran the name Conrad Lewis through the files.
Mm-hmm.
He's been convicted for armed robbery.
The record showed that Conrad Lewis had been arrested for suspicion of armed robbery 10 years before. He'd been brought to trial, convicted, and sent to San Quentin. He'd served 6 years, and then he'd been released. He was not on parole at the time. Frank and I parked our car down the street from Lewis's house, and we waited for him to return. At 10:57 p.m., we saw a dark-colored Lincoln sedan turn onto the street and swing into the driveway of the Lewis residence. A man and a woman got out of the car and entered the house. Frank and I waited a few minutes, and then we walked up to the front door and rang the bell.
Yeah?
You Conrad Lewis?
Yeah, that's right. Who are you?
Police officers like to talk to you.
Sure, come on in. What's this all about? Something wrong?
Do you own a truck?
Hmm?
A truck. Do you own one?
No. You mind telling me what this is all about?
Can you account for your time since Monday night?
Why?
Can you?
Look, I don't know what this is all about, and I'm not going to tell you a thing until you let me know what you want. Now, what do you want?
The answers to those two questions. 12:15 a.m. It had been only a little over 48 hours since Russell Gilmore had been kidnapped and beaten, and we had a suspect in custody. However, Lewis refused to admit any complicity in the crime. We talked to him for several hours, but he told us nothing. He admitted that he'd been arrested before and that he'd served time in San Quentin. However, he stuck to his statement that since his release, he'd done his best to live by the law. With the evidence at hand, he was booked at the main jail on a charge of suspicion of violation of Section 211 PC. We obtained the keys to his place of business, and Frank and I went out to check it. It was a large wholesale store selling used furniture. A search of the premises failed to turn up any of the stolen merchandise. While Frank went through the stock rooms, I checked the business ledgers.
Nothing back there either, Joe. How'd you do?
Well, according to these, Lewis does a big shipping business.
That's what the woman next door told us.
He's been making shipments up to Oakland regular.
Books tell what they were?
Yeah, right here. He's been sending large lots of used stuff to a place on MacArthur Boulevard. There's a whole list of it here. Tables, living room sets, TV sets.
Better get in touch with the police up there and have them check this place out, huh?
Yeah. Without that stolen property, we're not going to have a very good case against him.
You got the address of the place up north?
Yeah. Let's go back to the office and get a call in.
Right. Sure hope they come up with the answers.
Well, if they don't, we might be in trouble.
Yeah?
The DA's office is liable to throw the whole thing out. Thursday, June 5th, 8:20 a.m. We put in a call to Captain of Inspectors Tony Bolger in Oakland and asked him to check on the recipient of the furniture shipment from Lewis. We also gave him as detailed a description of the stolen merchandise as we were able to obtain. In the meantime, Lewis had been admitted to bail and was released. Thursday, 11:15 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office from checking a lead on one of the suspects who'd driven the truck. I got it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. Yes, it is. All right. Tony Bolger from Oakland.
Let's hope we called it.
Yeah. Yeah, Tony. Yeah? Well, what'd he say? Well, that's the way it looked from here. What? Yeah, right. Okay, thank you.
How about it?
When he talked to the man who bought this stuff, he's clean.
How about the merchandise itself?
It's all stolen. 11:20 p.m. We got in touch with Lieutenant Smyers and filled him in on the new developments. After we talked to him, we contacted Officers Max Herman and Ed Benson and made arrangements to meet them at the house on Cedar Street. It took us less than half an hour to get out to Compton. The other officers were there by the time we arrived. While they covered the back door, Frank and I went up to the front.
You think he knows it's us?
I don't know. Try it again. Well, the car's in the driveway. We know he's in there.
Wait a minute. Sounds like somebody's coming now.
Yeah? What are you doing out here? Aren't you guys ever going to get off
Mind
my
if we
back?
come in and talk?
I got a choice?
No, you haven't.
Well, then come on in. You want to go through the house again?
That won't be necessary.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad of that. What's it about this time?
Same as before.
Maybe you better spell it for me.
We can go that route if that's the way you want it.
Go ahead. I like fairy tales.
All right, we got a report from a victim who was robbed and kidnapped. He was able to give us a description of this house, of your garage, and of the whole setup.
You've been on a spike again. You're seeing things.
We took a sample of the paint from your front porch. It matches paint found on a truck that was hijacked.
A lot of houses in L.A.
Not painted like this one.
You think you're going to send me to the joint with a batch of paint?
It's going to help.
Look, cop, you know I've been the rounds. I've seen enough trouble to know it's rough to get a conviction with circumstantial evidence. That's all you've got with me, nothing more. Now, why don't you go home and I'll just forget you were here tonight?
We got the plant.
What?
We got the plant. They moved in on it.
The man you sold the stolen furniture to is willing to testify.
You know we got you cold. Now, why not cop out?
That's the way it hangs, huh?
That's the way.
All right, I'll get my coat and go
Just
with
point it out. We'll get it for you.
in the closet.
Never mind.
He's making a point of it. Oh.
Outside. He's in his car. Yeah, come on. He's heading down toward Rosecrans. Better hit the siren.
Right.
He's turning onto Rosecrans. Take a left.
I got him.
See him?
Wait a minute. Yeah, up ahead there. Try a shot?
Better not. Too many people around. Can't you close in on him?
I think we're pulling up.
Making a turn.
Yeah.
Stay with him.
Hang on.
It's a dead end, Frank.
Yeah. He's in trouble, Joe.
Come on. Well, let's get him out of there.
Yeah. Hey, that door's stuck.
Wait a minute. I'll give you a hand.
There.
Can you get him?
Better call an ambulance. The motor's in his lap.
Still alive?
Looks like it. Can you help me here?
Yeah, let me get in there. All right. Come on. Let's put him down here.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy, Lewis.
I'll call the ambulance.
Right. Take it easy, Lewis. We sent for a doctor.
I didn't see the sign. I didn't know the street didn't go through. Lousy break. A lousy break. I'd have made it if I stayed off this street. You'd never got me if I'd stayed off the street. I just turned the car and all of a sudden I was on a dead end.
Afraid you're wrong there, mister.
Huh?
You've been there a long time.
Conrad Austin Lewis and his Confederates were apprehended and brought to trial on 11 counts of grand theft auto and 1 count of kidnapping. They were found guilty and sentenced as prescribed by law. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1 nor more than 10 years. Kidnapping is punishable by imprisonment for a term of from 1 to 25 years in the state penitentiary.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.